Some things don't fly, like playing rest stop roulette with an unnamed yet delicious Mexican-American fast food establishment while stuck in traffic on the Florida Turnpike. Here are some jokes that don't. Enjoy outtakes from Spaced by the Bell. Jaunty 90s school sitcom theme, laser noises. Always, maybe that's where we got the lasers from.
This is
finally got your.
This is your
lasers.
test.
Thank you. Classroom bells
Here's
ringing.
your fucking lasers.
Yeah, we can cuss again.
Yay!
Fucking A.
Groaning, slithering, sloshy, fucking alien noises.
And
What is the problem with Velcro shoes? Why do you ever get so mad about Velcro shoes? They're
It's
easy.
dorky.
No, they're easy. You're like, they're done.
It's
Boom. What's wrong with
dorky.
that? It's
I
called
feel like
efficiency.
they're very efficient.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's
Yeah,
Thank
what's
you.
wrong with that?
It's artistic.
What is wrong with that?
Velcro was invented by NASA. It's amazing.
Once
Right.
your grandpa stops using it, then you're allowed to use it. If your grandpa's like a very firm proponent of like a type of footwear, then it's probably not cool. It's not. I'm not saying it's
doesn't need
not
to be cool.
useful or efficient. I'm just saying it's not cool.
Oh,
Well,
so
I mean,
you're
it's
the
not
arbiter of
cool.
cool now.
Yeah, so you know
Okay.
what cool is?
Shit, like
Alien high school. And high school's pretty fucking cool.
I'm cool in high school.
Were you?
No, God, no.
Okay, I was about to say I don't.
No,
you
God,
can't
no.
even.
I mean,
pull
I
that
was
one
cool.
up.
I was cool enough.
Wow.
I was cooler than you were.
I'll be completely honest. I thought you were talking about the musicians, and I was like, never enough.
Kind of both. A little bit.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think 5 bangles in the musician category is enough. I don't think
Yeah.
they should have like a Slipknot sort of bangle 9
Oh, I would
member
love
bangle.
to see
That would be
slip
so
get
good.
angle.
Slip bangle.
Slip bangle.
Slip angle.
Sounds raunchy.
Well,
To this day, well, is she? When did she die? Did she die already?
Yeah, she's dead.
It didn't say when she died.
She doesn't remember either.
Yeah.
What did he do?
well, you've never heard of Rasputin, the Mad Monk? Because I was way into him when I heard I had to do this story at 4:00 in the afternoon.
You heard that?
I know. I had the grid. It's my fault. I had
It
the
wasn't
grid.
even on the grid. I texted you personally and told you.
Oh.
Wait.
Would you like to go over the timeline for this?
He
I
even,
wanna see.
he even
On
forwarded it-
record?
He even forwarded this text to Angela and myself.
Would you? No.
Where is it?
He sent you a private text, and then he told us privately that he sent you something privately.
Saturday, 8:55 p.m. Your story for Tuesday is Ellipse: The Trials and Tribulations of Brendan Fraser, or Grigory Rasputin, whichever you think will fit the theme of the show more. Ha 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 ha.
Sounds like me.
I'm forever just hearing ha
But I'm-
ha ha ha. Whenever
That's what I
read
hear when you guys type that out. First of all,
ha ha ha.
That's so funny. It's totally disappeared from my timeline.
Because
How convenient.
I always see it and I go,
I know. I'm usually laughing like a fucking madman when I write that out.
ha 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 ha.
I am too. So
Yeah.
that's good to know.
Or
That
we-
we're all
It's
just-
real.
That's actually really adorable that we all like admit that. It's
Dude,
like, oh,
I'm looking at the timeline. I just saw Jeff's going ha 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 ha. There's Angela ha ha ha.
This is me and you.
Jeff again. Wah, ha, ha, ha. It's just constantly.
And then
slapping
man
each
daddy's
other.
ha.
Yeah, it's just an HAH. Or the he is the worst. The HEH is like, yeah, that's just like, you like, fuck off.
That's
Yeah.
so
Well, that's
funny.
Don't even answer.
Don't hem me.
Yeah, don't even say anything.
And HEH, I've never done an HEH, but to me that's a like, it's like a-
Right, that's like a fuck off.
No, I want
Yeah, I don't.
guffaws or nothing.
Yeah, just give me an all caps LOL.
I
Don't
did get a harump out of that guy.
lower cap it.
Thank you.
All right. So anyway, Rasputin,
Motherfucker.
piece of shit.
So cyanide, when you get poisoned, is that the drug that kind of makes your fingernails blue, or is that strychnine? Because I think one of them does that.
Psilocybin.
Is it psilocybin?
That makes everything kind of blue.
I'm not.
No,
I'm not too
I
sure.
think that might be strychnine.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not. Actually, we have to call in the scientist for that one.
I don't have his number.
What's the meatloaf one that you get from meatloaf?
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Strychnine?
Point.
Ebola. Not Ebola. E. coli.
Here are some segments edited from broadcast.
And then another thing I listened to all of yesterday, I listened to it in one day, was a podcast called Dr. Death.
Explain.
And I believe this was pretty recent. There was this guy in Texas, in Dallas, Texas. His name was Christopher Dunch. And he went through medical school. He became a surgeon. He had somewhat glowing remarks from people. I feel like he's one of those people who was so mediocre that he kind of just flew under the radar for a long time, and he got hired, and he probably was very charming, and some people just kind of didn't think about it. He kind of just became a surgeon just because he was one of those high achiever people.
As you do.
Didn't really care about, which scares me about the medical field these days, because I feel like being a doctor used to be a calling, and now people are like, well, my dad did it. Well, it makes a lot of money.
Preach, baby.
Well, I'm like an egomaniac, and I kind of just want to...
God complex
type of thing. And that's terrifying.
Totally.
Thinking you're putting your life in these people's hands. Well,
that woman that missionary that just was going to Africa, and she had no medical experience whatsoever, and she went out there and she's like, I'm a doctor. I just told them, and like has killed like over 100 people.
That's
oh my God.
terrible.
Yeah, she's just over there like, but I'm helping.
People have that, and it's scary.
Yeah.
And this guy kind of had that, there was all this backstory as all these podcasts do of like, he was a football player and he wasn't that great, but he worked really hard and then he became really great. So that was in his head thinking like, hey, if I just work really hard, not realizing like you can't practice on people's lives. And he did.
Damn.
And he would just completely botch all these surgeries, and people were like raising their hands like, this guy's a problem, but because the health industry is so political and weird with money that they're like, nah, he hasn't messed up that much. And then like the system in Dallas totally failed people. Like 30 something people died.
Oh,
and this guy would just go into surgeries and just completely just do something super random. They go in for one thing, and then he would like make them paralyzed. What they weren't paralyzed when they went in that surgery.
And this podcast was called
It's called Dr. Death, and I believe the production company that produces it is Wondery, like Wonder with a Y at the end. 6 episodes. I listened to it all in one work day as I'm just kind of doing stuff, and it was really good, really scary in terms of how that can happen. But the stories, I feel like you're listening to it to kind of hear what happened to the people who get affected. And also just the scariness of the people who kind of turned a blind eye to this guy. And we're just like, no, he's good. He's good. And then everyone kind of screaming, the guy's not great. And everyone's going, well, we got to go through all the processes. And like, people are going to die if you don't do this now.
Listen, surgery's really hard.
Yeah, surgery, sometimes things just don't work out.
I don't know. There's blood in there.
There's
it's
blood.
scary.
It's icky.
Sponges and rags. Everything's fine. It was really fascinating. Dr. Death.
Dr. Death.
One day, I'm driving down a dusty highway, and a buffalo told me to give my jewelry a funeral in the desert.
He can't resist. He cannot resist.
And when he brought it up, it was unironic. I'm looking at his eyes, and definitely the pupils of his eyes, he had no idea. And I say, Johnny Depp, and they get really big, like a hit from a magic drug.
All of a sudden, all these bangles and belts appear on me, and all scarves out of nowhere.
In every past episode of Fort Fritz, on any kind of platform, but especially iHeartRadio, you just hear him go, my name's Johnny Depp.
And they've been playing this Vodge commercial a lot more, so it's becoming even more relevant. I've seen it on TV a lot lately.
And every time I read his name, I just hear your voice in my head. Yeah.
Depp, it's not even his voice anymore. It's just Man Daddy's voice doing Johnny Depp.
I actually heard that today. It was the biggest movie flops. Each one ended with, and coming up, a sword and sandal movie that flopped in the 50s. And then maybe like 17 clicks in, it just goes, coming up, Johnny Depp! And I read it in your voice.
Yeah. Yeah.
I ruin things. It's what I do.
I was probably around 6 years old when Jurassic Park came out, and just being terrified that anytime it started getting dark outside or the power went out, I was convinced a T-Rex had was coming to get me. Out. Or if I was taking a shower, I was always afraid that poison spitting dinosaur was in the shower with me.
Dilophosaurus?
Yes.
Nice.
And I would always wash wash my hair with like one eye open, like always like waiting for a dinosaur to be in there. So weird.
That's so awesome.
And then as I got older, there was something about, because sometimes like when you watch a scary movie, it depends on the timing and where you are and the environment that you're in. And I watched that first Paranormal Activity movie.
Hell yeah.
And I was at a friend's house, and then I went home to my apartment, and I was my first time living alone. And I just remember like walking up the stairs and just having a complete meltdown before walking in my own apartment by myself, going like, I can't even walk in. And I called my boyfriend. I was just like, I can't even go in my apartment right now. I'm just so terrified. He's like, I'm sorry I made you watch that movie. And I'm
I
like,
love those movies.
They are really good.
All of them are
They're
fairly
well
decent.
done. They're
and the weird little folklore that they created within them is not too bad.
So I would say the last movie was probably that first Paranormal Activity movie that just really freaked me out, that I could not go to sleep. And I just remember this. That whole week, I kept waking up at 3 a.m.
No, that's
The
spooky.
witching
And I'm
hour.
not even kidding you. I'd wake up at 3 a.m. and I kept looking over at my cats like, we're good, right? Like, we're good. Yeah, so that's...
And this is why I didn't bring up this topic when you weren't here.
Yeah, exactly.